Hello, my name's John, and for the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about how to drastically change your open enrollment process for employee benefits. We're based in Richmond, Virginia, been doing this for 18 years, and I have 4 things I want to convey. Now, why do I do this video? Why am I talking to you now? Because we're now starting slowly to come out of COVID. We've been in the benefits industry for 18 years. We've seen lots of things, and I want to give you 4 tips, things to consider to make your life easier, whether you're an owner, CFO, HR manager, payroll manager, whatever your function is in the company. Watch this video, share it with others, because all 4 of these things are available now to you. You may not be using them, but they are all available at no cost through companies like us. But I want to give you the techniques, I want to give you the ideas, I want to give you the framework. So if you want to implement this, you can do it all by yourself. You don't need us. Okay, you may be fine with your advisor or broker. You may be so super thrilled about what's going on, but I want to talk about, and I have my fancy notebook here about, I'm really a mermaid from my daughter Reese that I'm going to go through. So we're going to talk about how to drastically improve your open enrollment process. What do I mean by that? Imagine for a moment that you cannot wait for open enrollment. This is the actual phrase that was said by a new client of ours. This is a nonprofit that's been around for years. And in one of our first couple meetings, they said, quote, "I'm actually looking forward to open enrollment." Why is that? I'm gonna give you the 4 things, and it's like a puzzle piece, right? So some of you may have 1 piece, and it's an okay enrollment. You may have 2 pieces, and it's getting better. 3, pretty good. 4 is, I can't wait. Now I know open enrollment, when HR managers hear that, they start having high blood pressure, they start having panic attacks, CFOs start stressing about how much their costs are going up, owners are figuring out how they're gonna balance the cost versus growth. I get it. We've been in business, I have employees, I pay for benefits, I advise clients, I get the balancing act. So whether you have 5 employees or 150 employees, the process you go through is very similar. So here's the first thing. I want you to lower your medical cost and eliminate your deductible. You're like, yeah, right, that's impossible. Every year, my costs go up and my deductible goes up. It gets worse, right? Every year, it's not lower my medical costs, it's increase my medical cost and increase my deductible. I want to show you how you can reduce your medical cost and at the same time eliminate all or most of your deductible. How is that even possible? Have you heard the phrase, you don't know what you don't know? It's where you think you know a certain thing about a topic or a strategy or an idea or a belief, and someone comes along and they challenge a little bit, they change your paradigm about what that thing is. Now, before that moment, you're like, that's not possible. But without new information, you're right, it's not possible. But when you get new information and you see other people using it or you see new facts, some people are open-minded to say, wow, tell me more. And that's the kind of person. So if you're not that kind of person where you're like, hey, I want to learn how to do some of these things, tell me more, then you can probably just turn it off because you're set in your ways. You think you know how it's going to be. And one thing I've learned in my 52 years on this earth is that I'm always learning. I don't know everything. I'm always evolving and learning, and the industry is changing, the world is changing, the dynamics are changing. So please, if nothing else from this, open your mind. It doesn't cost anything to learn new things. Hopefully you're that kind of person, and so we're gonna keep watching through this. So how do we do this? Very simply, what you want to do is you want to look at whatever carriers you have access to, and you may have some favorites, you may have some new ones. You know, I tend not to want to jump on the bandwagon of the new guy in town just because I don't know how the system's going to work. It's not worth experimenting with medical insurance. So you find the carriers you're comfortable with and understand that with each of the medical carriers components, there are probably at least 50 different plans that each one has options for, minimum. So like in Richmond, there's 3 major carriers that we look at. That's 150 different medical plan options. And it's more than that, I can tell you for a fact. And sometimes the larger your company, so if you have over 50 employees, it may be even a little more, maybe less. So understand there are lots of plans, and here's the thing I want you to know. You are most likely getting your renewal on just the published or the listed renewal. There are 150 unlisted renewal rates and plans available. If you've ever looked at a medical carrier booklet and you flip through it and it's 50 pages and you see all the columns, that's what I'm talking about. But yet, who has the time? You certainly don't have the time if you're an HR, CFO owner, right? But that's the role of your advisor. That's the role of your broker. Things have gotten more complicated over time, so you want to make sure your advisor is looking through those and analyzing them, because it's very complex. There's lots of moving parts. And so what we do is we search for a plan that fits the criteria that allows us to insure the deductible through alternative means. What is that? That can be through HSA funding, it can be through HRA funding, FSA funding, insurance funding. There's all these different mechanisms that you can use to insure the deductible. Now, I prefer the insurance funding mechanism because you don't want to be an insurance company. That's not why you're there running your company, manufacturing signs or HVAC work or doing website development. You don't want to be in the insurance company. So, self-insuring yourself with your own hard-earned money, in my opinion, is not a good idea. So there are strategies, there are companies that will come in, and these are not companies you see on TV with animals. These are other companies you've never heard of that will come in and say, hey, I want to eliminate that deductible. I want to pay the bills for your employees. Send me the bill and I'll pay it. Just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean it's not true. So that's the first thing. You want to lower the cost and eliminate the deductible.